This is a video idea that I've seen suggested in the comments for a while now, but I'm always cautious since some people inevitably won't react well to hearing a player is too good for their club. I'm sorry about that, but it's sort of the nature of football these days. If it's any consolation, I can state there's no disrespect meant to any club in this video, and personally, I'd love it if there was more even distribution of star players in football, rather than the richest and biggest clubs who bring up all the talent. But unfortunately, that's just the world we live in. Having said that, we're not going to be featuring really tenuous inclusions like David De Gea is too good for Manchester United, or Harry Kane is too good for Tottenham, simply because we don't think it would make for an interesting video. Here are our 7 footballers who are too good for their clubs. Rodrigo De Paul, Udinese. We start in Serie A with Udinese, and those of you who don't really follow Italian football could be forgiven for thinking Udinese one of the division's top clubs, and they were not long ago. However, for the last 5 seasons, the club has languished in the bottom half of the table. They came within a point of relegation back in the 2015-16 campaign and find themselves down in 17th place once more this term. Udinese's best player and our first inclusion in this 7 is Rodrigo De Paul. Capped by Argentina for the first time this year, the 24-year-old has previously played for Valencia and Racing Club. Capable of playing on either wing or as an attacking midfielder, De Paul is two-footed, direct and good on the ball. With 5 goals and 3 assists from 12 appearances in a struggling Udinese side, De Paul has been one of Serie A's most impressive performers this season. There were rumours of possible interest from Sevilla, Fiorentina and Arsenal over the summer, and if he maintains his early season form for the rest of this campaign, it's hard to see him still being with Udinese at the start of next season. Cedric Ambu, Beijing Guoan. The star man of both his club side and his national team, French-born DR Congo international Cedric Ambu is a fast, intelligent and prolific centre-forward. Having made a name for himself in France and Turkey, Bakambu spent 3 seasons with Villarreal between 2015 and 2018, scoring 46 goals in 104 games for the La Liga side. He subsequently made a £35 million move to the Chinese Super League, signing for Beijing Guoan, who had finished 9th the previous season. Their rise to 4th place this year was in no small part down to Bakambu's goals. Whilst others have treated the CSL as a bit of a jolly and a chance to come home with pockets full of cash, Bakambu has remained at the top of his game, bagging 16 goals in 15 games. He has been linked with a January move to Tottenham, although Beijing Guoan would no doubt demand what would be a significant sum of money for Spurs for a man likely to play second fiddle to Harry Kane. Whether it's Spurs or someone else though, at the age of 27, Bakambu will surely try his hand with a top club before his playing days are over. Miguel Almiron, Atlanta United. As well as not including players from the top clubs, we also haven't included players in the swan songs of their careers, like Wayne Rooney and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, despite the former Manchester United duo looking head and shoulders above their peers in the States right now. One MLS player who does make the cut though is 24-year-old Miguel Almiron. Signed by Atlanta United for $8 million back in 2016, the Paraguayan international previously played in Argentina. Despite the incredible goal-scoring output of Josef Martinez, it is still Almiron who always seems to stand out when you watch Atlanta play. An intelligent attacking midfielder with a brilliant burst of pace and impressive close control, Almiron still needs to work on his final product, but if properly polished, there's an outstanding footballer in there. He has been heavily linked with an £11 million move to Arsenal, which seems rather cheap, but there's also been reported interest from Newcastle United and Tottenham Hotspur. Irving Lozano, PSV. Now, this may seem a tad controversial, since PSV won the Eredivisie last season, they top the division right now with 12 wins from 12 games, and they are in the Champions League, albeit they're bottom of their group. Once again, we think PSV are a great club, and we'd love to see the Dutch game reach its former heights. But as things stand, PSV aren't among Europe's elite, and Irving Lozano may just be at that level. We have been big fans of the man they call Chucky since his time with Pachuca, and he is now pretty well known even to those who don't follow Dutch football, thanks in no small part to his winner in Mexico's 1-0 defeat of Germany at the 2018 World Cup. An explosive wide man with a high work rate and a directness about his game, Lozano seems perfectly suited to the Premier League, so it should come as no surprise that clubs in England have been said to be interested. Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United, Tottenham, Everton and Barcelona have all been linked, and given his current form, we think PSV are going to have a really hard time hanging on to their star man beyond this season. Wilfried Zaha, Crystal Palace. I don't think there can be too many doubts about this one. Crystal Palace have shown some ambition in the transfer market over the last couple of seasons, bringing the likes of Max Meyer and Mamadou Sakho, but they are still incredibly dependent on Wilfried Zaha when it comes to their attacking output. You will often hear Zaha being described as inconsistent or as a luxury player, but any Palace fan will tell you that just isn't the case. He is routinely the man his teammates look to for inspiration, creativity, and a match-winning strike. Quick, skillful, and most importantly, highly effective in the final third, Zaha was linked with Tottenham and Chelsea over the summer, but Palace have been smart in repeatedly signing up their star man on new, improved, and longer-term deals. At some point though, especially if the 26-year-old steps up another level this season, you'd think that would have to give. The only question mark about Zaha's credentials at a top club would be his failure to break through at Manchester United, but that was a long time ago and the Ivorian international has grown a lot as a footballer. Cristian Pavón, Boca Juniors. Those of you who tuned in for the breathless first leg of the Copa Libertadores final between Boca Juniors and River Plate will have seen Cristian Pavón pull up in the first half with a suspected muscle injury that saw his game end prematurely. It was a huge blow to Pavón, who left the field in tears after hitting the turf in frustration. It was also a huge blow to Boca Juniors, since Pavón is their star man. The fleet-footed wide man is a wonderful athlete and a tireless runner, and he featured for Argentina in their disappointing 2018 World Cup campaign. He cost Boca a little over €1 million, but it's widely expected that his £44.5 million release clause could soon be triggered, with Unai Emery's Arsenal said to be the hot favourites. Once again, Boca are an enormous football club with a fantastic tradition, but they can't compete with Europe's top clubs when it comes to the footballing food chain in the 21st century, and we'd expect Pavón to be on his way to Europe next summer. The honourable mentions. Those of you who are familiar with this channel will know that we typically include some honourable mentions in lists of this type between first and second place, but we're not going to today. That's just because if this video does well and the demand is there, we'd be happy to do a part 2, so we don't want to spoil that potential. As always though, feel free to let us know any of your suggestions, both in terms of players you think are too good for their clubs and for future video ideas, in the comments. Memphis Depay, Lyon. There are a couple of issues with Memphis Depay's inclusion in this 7 which we're going to address here, although I should point out that although he is in top spot, there's no particular order to this 7. The first is that Depay has already had a much anticipated move to one of the world's biggest clubs, and unlike Wilfried Zaha, he arrived at Manchester United and was expected to be an immediate star man. The other is the fact that Lyon are a really good team. They finished 3rd in Ligue 1 last season, they're 4th this season, and they look likely to reach the knockout stages of the Champions League, so they're no pushovers. Again though, financially, they can't compete with Europe's elite, or their domestic elite, with PSG 15 points clear of them after just 13 games. Now, Depay himself was excellent last season, but he has been even better at the start of this campaign, bagging 5 goals and 5 assists from 10 starts in Ligue 1. He has certainly improved his strength on the pitch since leaving Manchester United. The only question marks regard whether he is any stronger mentally, with some suggesting that he flourishes as a big fish in a small pond. There has been talk of a return to Old Trafford, with Manchester United said to have the first refusal on any deal, but somehow we just don't think that'd be a great idea. The likes of Roma and AC Milan have also been linked, and if Depay maintains his early season form, Lyon will be set for a hefty payday should he leave the club next summer. So that's it for our 7. Thanks for watching, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications for more from us if you enjoyed the video, and you can now also follow us on Twitter for more ramblings from me. Our username is simply at HITC Sevens.
This is a Chucky Beat production.